Good and Bad Music Taste and Other Ways to Ruin Your Life. My name is Dominic.
And my name is Sam. Dominic has a record this week.
This week's record is Roadmap to Revolution by Bloody Mannequin Orchestra. This record was first released in 1984 on WGNS Recordings. The copy I have here is an original pressing. Anyways, today we're talking to Peter Cortner from Field Day, the Gerunds, and Dag Nasty. How's it going, Peter?
It is going great, especially since you started off with a mention of Bloody Mannequin Orchestra. That is absolutely amazing. I I love that record. I absolutely love that record to death. Anything I can ever find by them, any like little obscure things that were cassette only or whatever, I will always track them down. They are amazing.
Yeah, well, my dad recently has just been like getting records, and like every day he's like, "What did I get today?" So he like opens the package. He's like, "Oh, check this out." So it had Roger from Call, or he was like it had Roger and Colin from Dead Mass.
Hmm.
So he just gets like random records, and that was one of them.
Oh, that's pretty. So, have you had a chance to listen to it?
Not yet, but I'm planning on it.
Oh, okay. You're in for a treat. And can I suggest, whatever else happens, you have to listen to Meal at McDonald's.
Oh,
It is a perfect song.
okay. How's the field day tour going?
Oh, phenomenal. It's absolutely wonderful. For one thing, it's really great to have gotten things started after our extended COVID break. But the way we ended up starting out again, for me at least, was really helped things get sort of supercharged. We started out playing a show in San Pedro, California, at a place called the Sardine, an absolutely fantastic place. If you ever find yourself in San Pedro, you have to go there. The food is delicious. The atmosphere is amazing. The people who run it are beautiful people. The people who come there are beautiful people. And one of the people who came was Milo. And for Doug, of course, the two of them were bandmates. And I met Milo long ago when Dag Nasty was on tour with the Descendants for weeks at a time. But still, to me, Milo is Milo. And so to have Milo get up and do a song with us and actually want to do a song with us was just a beautiful thing for me. So he came up and he did the song Safe with us and just absolutely killed it. And all I can think of sometimes, in fact, my wife and I were talking about this when we were having lunch today. If Milo were to come to another show, what would be the song for him to do? So we mulled that over, and we have some ideas that I'm gonna run by Doug just in case we happen to run into Milo down the road.
Yeah, we ran into him like 2 months ago, and he was saying that he really wanted to like play safe.
It's
See that it happened.
I still kind of can't believe it. Like I have to pinch myself. Just that he even knew the song to me was like, really? You mean you've listened to a band I was in? It was like, wow. It was really great. It was really great, and he couldn't be a more wonderful person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and we had ran into him. We obviously interviewed him like
Hmm.
over the like course of the pandemic. And like you said, like we had kind of talked to him and like he knew of us, but just still meeting him was really crazy. Like it was like, oh my God,
and
hi,
he's
like
he's
because it was like face to face and
his wife was in the background and was looking at us, and, like had her head like tilted, and then like runs over and is like, "You are the podcast kids."
Oh, that's
And Milo's
amazing.
like, "That's right." My wife has a better memory than me.
Well, I mean, believe me, you guys are known now. Like I had to take some tranquilizers before I would get on with you guys because it's just like it's them. It's them. It's Dom and Sam. So, but I'm trying to stay cool. I'm not gonna nerd out.
Like most of the time, like we haven't met like most of the people that we've talked to in person.
right.
Sure.
Meeting Milo a couple months ago was crazy. Doug was one of the first people we talked to. We're meeting him next week. We're meeting you next week, and that's crazy. Knowing that we're sitting here, I'm gonna meet you next week.
Wait a minute. Are you meeting Milo next week too?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay, okay. I misunderstood. But you actually ended up meeting him in person too. Is
Yeah.
that how did that happen? Where was it?
Oh, well, originally we had talked to him like last July.
Hmm.
Yeah, a while ago.
Yeah, and then 2 months ago we went to a Descendant show. Well, it was a
Uh,
Descendants opening. We were walking out, and Milo's like drinking like a Pepsi and saying,
mhm.
Milo. A little bit louder. I'm like, that's Milo. And my dad is like, that's Milo.
It was
Walk
just like a
over.
wave.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
security's like, what do you guys think you're doing? Like, we're going to try to meet Milo. And
yeah.
they're
Of
like,
course.
he's like, oh, okay.
Was that the
That's
first time you saw the Descendants?
that was well for me, I think that was the third time I've seen
It
this.
was
Wow.
my first time seeing them. So it was a
Nice.
completely different experience for me. And having met Milo the first time, I'd say it was a pretty good first Descendants show.
Oh, I bet. Well, I mean, I don't think there's such a thing as like not the perfect Descendants show to see. But nevertheless, I envy you because, I remember the first time I saw the Descendants, and I didn't know who they were. I didn't know anything about the Descendants because I'm bad at being a punk. And the first time I saw them was when I had joined Dag Nasty and we were opening for them on tour. So I didn't even see them the first night of the tour because I was just so completely nervous about it. Kind of hung out in the van until it was time to play. But then the next night I watched them and I was like, whoa, these guys are pretty amazing. And it just knocked me for a loop to see them. So yeah, your experience must have been fabulous.
I saw that you and Doug went to a Descendant show a couple of months ago. You got a picture with Milo. Was that purposeful where the camera
Yes,
went around?
yes, yeah, and,
Okay.
and and so and Doug's like, I'm gonna post it, and I'm like, okay, yeah, but you have to explain, what I intended with that. And Doug was like, yeah, what you intended is you're an idiot, so that's what I'm gonna put up there. And he's right, but it was intentional. So I felt very awkward about doing a selfie with Milo. So I decided, in my mind, if I were going to do that, he might be like, oh, what's with this dude with doing another selfie? So I said, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to come up to him and say, hey, see this in my phone? This is what you and I are looking at right now. And I took a picture of that, which is ridiculous, but that's what it was. I happened to be aiming it at something on the ceiling, and that's what we took a picture of. And then I forgot to send it to him. So he doesn't have that wonderful memory that I do.
Doug worded it on social media. It made it seem like you thought you were taking a picture and then it was just flipped around.
Well, in a way, I don't blame him for putting it that way. First off, that might have been what he actually thought. He might have thought that I was trying to cover up and that I just didn't know how to do it. Or he might have thought, I'm not going to reveal just what a stupid idea Peter had. So I'm gonna make it into a mistake instead, because that's better than walking up to a person and saying, "Hey, we're gonna take a picture of what's directly ahead of us." You know.
Like,
But
look at
that
that
that is
wall.
actually what I did.
So we've noticed that you draw little pictures like in the margins of your set list, but why is that?
Oh, um, so I always do. I write up the set lists for the band, and by the time I get through, I always do 5 of them. just in case I lose one, because I do tend to lose one before I get up on stage and start taping them down. By the time I get to mine, I'm so sick of writing the same thing over and over again that I'll start to use sort of shorthand for what the songs are. And part of the reason I do that is every now and then one of those set lists shows up on Instagram or on Facebook. And I just like to see if anybody looked at it and was able to figure out which drawing corresponds to which song. And I figure most of the time they can't because my drawings aren't particularly good. Like I try to draw a little like combination safe for the song safe, and I'm pretty sure anybody who saw that would be like, dude, that doesn't really look much like a safe to me, you know. But at that point, I'm like, well, I know which song it is because I already wrote this 10 times, so you know. But
Yeah, I
that's
was.
what that's about.
I saw somebody posted like the punk rock bowling set, and I was like, yeah, like trying to look through. I was like, okay, well, that looks like a soda can. Can I say? And then I got to the safe one. I was like, cooler? Oh, safe.
That's what it is. Although next time, you know what I need to start doing is, since I know what the songs are, maybe the pictures should have nothing to do with it at all. You know, and I realize I'm saying this now, which means anybody who happens to listen to this will already be in the know, but maybe next time I will draw a cooler. Maybe I'll draw a little cow or something, you know, and just let people like, oh, what does it mean? You know, what does it relate to? Is it society? I don't get it. You know,
You're gonna have way too many people on social media just completely over analyzing a photo of like a cow in the corner of the paper.
yeah, yeah, maybe, which I think is good. You know, people need to step outside of themselves and consider what a cow might mean
They
at
could like
some
big
point.
signs like, how do we get from the cow to values here?
Right. Oh, well, I mean, it's obvious. I mean, I have no idea. Oh, I know. I would know. I know how. I know how. Because, oh, this is going to be so stupid. So, cows, as you may know, um, they when they eat grass, they do a thing called rumination. So they chew it up and it goes into sort of like an auxiliary stomach that sort of deals with it. And then they cough it back up and chew it some more before they actually swallow it and it goes into their for real cow stomach. So when we say, well, I had to chew over that idea or I was ruminating, it's a metaphor. And what we're saying is we're doing what a cow does when it's eating. So now I have to tie this into values here somehow. So anyway, values here is all about ruminating on values and thinking, where are these values exactly? Are they there? Are they above me? Are they in Wisconsin? No, I've ruminated and they're here in my heart. And that's why the cow.
That was way too quick.
Oh,
That
that was
was
awful.
amazing.
That was awful. Doug's going to be
I
like,
got
what
there
is
way
wrong
too
with you?
quick.
Did
That
I?
had
Okay,
that had
right.
previous thought. That was
Yeah.
All right. Next time I'll drag it out. Next time I'll try to involve more of the farm into it. You know, before we get to the actual values.
How did you make that connection like that?
I'm now going to use the word ruminating daily. That was eye opening.
You should. Okay. So since we're on the topic of words, are you familiar at all with the word cantankerous?
No.
Haven't heard that before. Okay. So I'll tell you the reason why I mention this because I actually used that term in a conversation I was having with somebody yesterday. And this person I was talking to is, I think she's in her early to mid 30s. And I didn't think I was using a particularly unusual word. Like, to me, I thought, oh, yeah, everybody knows cantankerous. And I was talking about, this old guy. He's this cantankerous old man. And she's like, cantankerous? What is that? And that surprised me because I'm very out of touch with, human beings. So I started to wonder, like, well, maybe it's skipped a generation, but you guys haven't heard this word either.
No.
Am I right about that?
I mean, from the way you used it, I imagine it's kind of like curmudgeon, or
Got it. Yes,
Okay.
exactly, exactly. And I was thinking, you get it? Dun 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 dun.
oh, I think you just
Are you back?
Yes, I'm just staying incredibly still because I figured
oh okay.
if things froze, I should get into it. But are we good
Okay.
now?
Yeah, we're
Yes,
good.
it
All
froze
right,
for a
all right.
second. We were like,
Maybe the whole internet is just like shut up about ruminating and
You know,
cantankerous.
the weird thing is, what the first interview we did with Doug,
Hmm.
the Wi-Fi for that was terrible.
like the exact same thing happened.
Yeah.
It just froze for like a solid minute and then came back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Wait a minute, wait a minute. And you guys, oh, I wish I could remember what it was because I really liked what you did when that happened. What was the music you were playing?
It
Wasn't
was
it
like the
some?
Curb Your Enthusiasm music.
That's right, that's right. Yeah. Oh God, it was perfect. It was absolutely
I
perfect. Yes.
forgot about that.
We're
Yes,
gonna have
that
to.
was
Wow.
perfect.
We'll do that
And
for
and
this too.
and you were using a particular one, like I'm trying to remember if you were using the main theme
It was like
or
that
if
thing, like the da 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 da. Da.
right, right, right. So you have to promise me, okay, if you go back around and you're going to do that, see if you can find this other theme that they use in that, which goes dun 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 dun. Or you can just tape me doing that, and whenever anybody, whenever there's a technical difficulty, just bring me in to do that for you.
I think the second
Yeah, I
option
think
is
that's
better.
better.
There we
Yeah.
go. There we go. Now see, I have another career ahead of me.
You can just like voice acting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Forget this music nonsense. Voice acting's where it's at. That would be a lot of fun.
I heard
I-
completely changing topics. I heard
Sure.
a story that in seconds was offered the Dag Nasty position before you got it. So how did you
Hmm.
be the singer then?
So I'm sorry, I missed the last part of your question.
Oh, how did you end up as the singer of Dag Nasty after Kevin was off?
So I, I'll tell you the story, but I'm thinking that one thing I've been learning over the years is that my idea of what actually happened may not be entirely reliable. So someone else might tell this story differently. But my understanding of it was I had been a fan of Dag Nasty pretty much since they started out. I saw Dag Nasty a bunch of times. I saw a bunch of times first with Sean, and then I saw the first show that they did in DC with Dave. And then I saw this ad in the local city paper saying Dag Nasty is seeking a singer, which I thought was very, very interesting. But I didn't really think twice about it. And at that time, I was playing bass in a band called Protem. And the other guys in Protem saw that and they said, wouldn't it be funny to audition for that? You should do that. Go audition for it. So I said, okay, sure, I'll do that. I think that would be funny. So long story short, Dag Nasty had been gearing up to do this tour with the Descendants. They had all these dates booked. They had a record that had just been finished. It hadn't come out yet, but it was ready to come out. And all of a sudden, they were without a singer. So, with that level of pressure, I think that they may have started to sort of lower the bar in terms of what they wanted. I don't know how many other people had applied for this, but I think at a certain point they were like, all right, of all of these different knuckleheads, because apparently Kevin Seconds, who they really would have liked to have had, either didn't respond or responded too late. So they were like, of all the knuckleheads that we have, um, who is the one who we think will drive us crazy the least just when we're driving around in the van? And I was really kind of, I don't want to say shy, but I was kind of quiet around them because I felt like, oh my God, these guys are like this really serious band. So I should just sort of lay back and, you know, not make too much of a fool of myself. And I think they liked that. So that's kind of how I ended up getting the gig.
Just not talking.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. By just being of all of these guys who came in and just completely butchered the songs during the audition, this is the guy who's going to be the quietest in the van. Like he's not going to get on our nerves too much. So I think that's sort of what happened.
I mean, depending on the level of annoyance the others caused, I take that as a win.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, if
It worked
nothing
out.
else,
It worked out.
yeah. Well, it did. It did. But no, I think you're exactly right. When I think about what is the important lesson from that, and I guess the important lesson is good things can happen if you try not to be a pain in the butt. It's sort of karma. So that's it. But it was not like I got the job of singing for Dag Nasty because they sought me out. It was just like we got to get somebody now. We're leaving tomorrow. Let's go. The van's running, you know, and that's how it was. But I'm glad it happened. It was an awesome experience.
Yeah, because I had just heard this story that like Kevin Seconds was like offered the position. Huge gap. Peter Cortner got it. Like that's all I heard of.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much more about it. In fact, um, something I was thinking about was since I guess have you seen the picture of the letter that was sent to Kevin?
No.
So there's somewhere circulating around on the internet, you can find a picture of the actual letter. And that gets me wondering, well, if someone has a picture of the actual letter and the person who's posting this isn't Kevin, did they ever send it? Did this thing get written and then
Or
it
it got
just
like lost
sat?
in the mail or something? Or
Yeah. And I don't know the answer.
That would be so weird. Could you imagine just being like a random person just getting a letter?
being
Yeah,
like,
like
we'd
who
like
is
you to be
this?
the new Dag Nasty singer.
Yeah, exactly. And someone's just like, first off, my name isn't Seconds, and Dag who? What is this about now? But I mean, I can't help but think, it would have been pretty awesome. I mean, it would have been an absolutely amazing fit. Am I glad it didn't work out that way? Yes. I'm glad for me. But I think for like the listening public out there, I have no doubt that they would have ended up with some really fabulous things to listen to. But then maybe we wouldn't have had those later 7 seconds records, you
That's
know.
true.
So
Yeah.
so it works out.
Like you have to think later 7 seconds records or Kevin Seconds singing We Got It Dankos.
Yeah, I mean that's a good question. And frankly, I mean, I don't know if Wig Out at Denko, such as it is, would have happened under those circumstances because and I don't know if you guys had heard about this, but Dag Nasty actually broke up between the time that I joined the band, and We Got It Denkos was recorded. So the band came to a complete end, but then started up again. And this time the difference was that Roger from Bloody Mannequin Orchestra, who was the bass player for Dag Nasty originally, was replaced by Doug Carrion. So
I thought that Dag Nasty had just broken up in like '88 then.
Yeah.
no, this was it. It actually broke up once before. So the band stopped between Can I Say and Wig Out. We did record a few songs, but those songs never got released until like way down the line when Discord did a remaster of Wig Out at Denko's, and then they tacked those recordings onto the end of it. So some of those songs were recorded when Roger was still in the band, but almost all of them we ended up doing new versions of with Doug.
Yeah, because I had heard a version of, and I might be wrong on this, but I had heard a version of the song Roger where you were singing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. So there's the recorded version where I'm singing it, and then the band actually ended up recording it again for the record Four on the Floor. And that was after Field Day. They got back together briefly with Dave Smalley. And so they recorded a whole bunch of new songs, and then it also had Roger on it. They did a great job with it.
Yeah, because we like like 2 months ago at this point, Sam and I went to the Discord house.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
He was showing us like some old Dag Nasty stuff. He showed us Roger, and I didn't know that that was written for or on the floor, let alone recorded.
Oh, so when he showed it to you, did he play it for you?
Yeah,
Huh. And was he playing you the one from Four on the Floor with Dave singing?
he was playing the one of you. Saying,
Yeah.
Ah,
it's like,
okay.
oh, we have all these like old like Dag Nasty recordings.
Right.
Which in itself is pretty insane because
So
he's just
now
going
thinking
through
about it,
archives.
yeah, now thinking about it, that was the recording session you guys broke up.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I think at that point we already knew that the band was coming to an end, and I had kind of said, could we record some of the songs we were working on? And they were like, yeah, let's do that as sort of like the last hurrah. So I thought that those songs were, I thought maybe they were going to come out as a single eventually. Um, but at that point, I knew like we played like one more show in DC, and then that was it. And it was, I don't know, 2 or 3 months later that I guess I got a call from Brian, and Brian said, "Hey, look, we're gonna get Dag Nasty started up again." And he said, "But I've been out in California, and I've been working on a new set of songs with Doug. Roger's not going to be doing the band. Doug is going to be doing it, and we're going to be in DC soon. You'll come in, you'll hear these new songs, and we'll start from there."
Okay, yeah, I had just thought like Roger had left at one point and then Doug
Yeah.
came in. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, again, this is one of these situations where I don't know that I have the story entirely straight.
Yeah.
Um, it could be that when Brian said, "Hey, we're going to get the band back together," he approached Colin and Roger. Colin said yes. Maybe Roger said no. I don't know for sure. I just know that at that point, um, Doug was in the picture.
yeah, I again like I had no clue that Roger was recorded like with you on vocal because I had
Oh, the song, right,
yeah
right.
yeah because I had thought that I had thought that that was just a like a Dave Smalley song.
sure.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
For a
no,
while, I've been thinking like, after Ian played that, I was thinking like, why is Peter on this?
This
right.
makes it all make a little more sense. Like
Yeah.
it kind of clicked because we were like,
Because yeah, Ian was just like, "You want to hear a dance? You got any Dag Nasty?" And he just played that and like left it in.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, so on Four on the Floor, they did that, and then there was one other song that got recorded when I was in Dag Nasty before Doug joined. So it got recorded the same time as Roger, and that was Mango. But Mango at that time was just an instrumental, and it was a song that I remembered hearing the band do. In fact, I remember hearing them the first time play that the first show I saw with Dave Smalley singing, and I thought it was great. So I said, you guys should really record that as well. But I liked it as an instrumental, and then when I heard it with lyrics on it, I thought, yeah, that's also really really cool.
Were you like friends with or like at least acquaintances with Dag Nasty before coming into a audition?
Um, sort of. So I think that I definitely knew Colin, but I knew Colin as I knew he was in Dag Nasty, and I saw him at a record store that he was working on, and I came up and talked to him. But that definitely started as like, hey, I know you're in Dag Nasty, and I think you're a phenomenal drummer, and the band is absolutely great. So it definitely started that way. Um, Brian, I didn't know personally, but I had seen Minor Threat quite a few times. So, of course, I knew him from that. And before I joined the band, I was working for a time at Tower Records, which is a record store, like a national chain, and they had a location in the Foggy Bottom area of Washington, D.C. And every now and then, Brian would come in to buy something. And I think that I might have helped him out a couple of times looking for things, knowing perfectly well who he was and trying to resist being like, oh my God, I love Minor Threat, you're the best, and just being like, yeah, sure, I can help you out with that. And, by the way, I just want to say, I love all the stuff that you've done, but put that aside. How can I help you find what you want? But I never thought, twice about that. And then when I auditioned for the band, and I got a phone call from Brian saying, "Hey, I want you to audition, so I'm going to come over and I'm going to bring you some music to listen to." He came to my house, and when he walked in, he was like, "Oh, why didn't you say you were a friend?" And I was like, "Because I didn't really think I was." But he was, I mean, he could not have been nicer, and it's just my typical insecure self to just be like, I don't really know these people. I'm not really friends with them or anything. But they're kind of like, yes, you are, you freaking idiot.
um, was it weird transitioning from singing in Dag Nasty to pursuing academia and becoming an elementary school teacher?
Oh, well, um, no. So I mean, the going the journey of becoming a school teacher was a weird journey, but that didn't really have that much to do with stopping Dag Nasty. No, the transition from Dag Nasty was when Dag Nasty came to an end. I felt like, okay, that ride is over. That's the music stuff is done, because even though under like my definition of what a musician is, I would say, oh, well, I guess under that definition, I'm a musician too. I don't think of myself as a musician at all. So when Dag Nasty broke up, whereas everybody else in the band was like, well, doing music, that's what I do. So I'll just continue from here. I'll go on to the next project. For me, I just felt like, okay, well, I kind of fell into that by accident. The accident is over. And from here, I need to figure out what I'm going to do. And so what I did was just start doing temp jobs, had no thought about going back to school. Just thought, maybe I'll get a government job of some sort, which I did. And I ended up working for the Smithsonian Institute as a mail clerk. But I was also, at that point, I had been, let's see, how many years of it? That was 1988. So, no, that was 1989. So my wife and I met in 1984, and she was getting ready at the end of like 1990. She was graduating from George Washington University and getting ready to start law school in Philadelphia. So we kind of thought about it and said, maybe what I need to do is maybe go back to school too and see if I can get a degree. I had gone to college right out of high school when I graduated in 1982. I went to art school in New York for a year, but I ended up dropping out and just kind of never really went back until I ended up going up to Philadelphia and just going back and trying to finish my degree. And it wasn't in art. I got a psychology degree. I chose that because that's what my wife had done, and we used to talk about her classes, and they sounded really interesting to me. So I ended up doing that too, which I really liked. Then, meanwhile, while I was doing that, she was in law school. Law school sounded very interesting to me too, so I applied for law school, went to law school. Uh, but then the transition from law school to lawyer, it was like, I don't know. I'm not really like the lawyer type. I liked being in law school. And then the penny dropped, and I thought, well, maybe what I liked about that wasn't so much law, but school. So maybe I need to look into education. And from there, I started studying elementary education and ended up getting a master's in that, and then started teaching. I know, a long, long, weird road.
Everybody's always like,
I should have said ruminate in there somewhere.
everybody's always like, oh, sorry for rambling. Like, I kind of went on, like, I talk too much. Makes our job easier.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
don't
but
mind
I,
at all.
The other person talks.
yeah, but okay. Look, I'm not here to make your job easy. Okay, forget about it. I'm thinking about the poor guy who's listening to this and going like, "Oh my God, when is this guy gonna stop?" Because they don't want to hear me. They want to hear you too.
But you got to think about the people who see Peter Cortner interview and click on it.
Yeah, there's some people that are there like, oh yeah, that guy. They want to listen to that. So some people do want to hear about that.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, Peter, thank you so much for your time. This was a lot
Yeah,
of
it was an absolute pleasure. It was great to talk with you both.
yeah.
Yeah, thank
Forward
you.
to lunch next week.
Yes, yes,
Pretty awesome.
that would be great.
That place is great.
So good.
Like their logo is the 4 bars. So
Oh, nice, nice.
got like
So, I
Descendants
mean,
records on the walls. They have
The
a
whole interior is amazing. We've gone there so many times in like the past few months. It's amazing.
Oh, I can't wait. I mean, on top of everything else, like I've never had pizza before, and I've always been really curious
what?
about what it was like, but I've never found a place that has it. And then I heard like, oh, there's this place in Baltimore. Doug told me about it, and he said we were going to be going with you. So it'll be awesome. I'll like get to try this weird food for the first time, and then
Go
get to meet the
back.
two of you.
Take it back a couple sentences.
Go back. You've never had
No.
Pizza? Oh no, no, I can't find any here. don't, I've heard of it.
You lived in New York.
I know people like it, but yeah, I don't know. It's like it's like a bread thing, right? With tomato?
Like about that shape.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay, cool. Well, whatever it is, I'm willing to try almost anything.
Even pizza.
Even pizza. Yeah.
Man.
Weird name. What is it, like a Scandinavian thing? Swedish? What is
I think
what's
like
this?
German.
Norwegian.
Norwegian. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, but it'll be great. I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
Cool. Right. All right. Thank you guys. I really appreciate you having me on.
Yes, this was like a year in the making.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. Sorry, guys.
No.
Thank you for coming on. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
It's a pleasure. See you next week.
See you next
See
week.
ya.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.